one of the most common things I think many of us deal with. We all have that in common, right? And it could be your work, your attitude, your children, your partner. It could be literally anything, but I believe that a lot of times it can come from internal issues that we may not be able to identify, which is why we have Dr. Guevara here with Texas Family Wellness Clinic for a little health and wellness moment. So talk to me about stress. What is causing our stress?
Right. So I break it up into 4 big things. So talk about physical stressors, chemical stressors, nutritional stressors, and mental stressors. So stress is not just something that is a psychological or mental issue, although it can be. Chemical stressors would include things like nicotine and caffeine. The nutritional stressors, that would include things like high carbohydrate diets or maybe processed foods. And then, of course, you've got the physical injuries or physical stressors that include things like injuries, infections, wounds, things like that.
Absolutely. And I'm sure lack of sleep fits in there somewhere as well.
Sure.
I'm really interested in hearing more about the diet too, because I think more of us are becoming more mindful of what's in our food and how it's affecting our bodies and our gut health and all those good things. So besides the obvious elements and the obvious things contributing to this, what are some symptoms that we can look out for if this is coming from internal issues?
Right. So when you're under stress, your body sends, or your brain sends, signals to your adrenal glands, which are glands that sit on top of your kidneys. They pump out certain hormones in response to stress. These include cortisol and adrenaline. And so with things like adrenaline, when that's elevated, you have elevations of your heart rate and blood pressure, muscle tension, headaches. Cortisol can lead to things like insomnia or difficulty sleeping. It can lead to sexual dysfunction. It can lead to weight gain. So a lot of symptoms that we associate with stress come from these elevated hormones.
Okay, very, very interesting. I know my stress comes from my daughter screaming "mommy" 600 times a day, right? So we can all identify certain things. How can we regulate this? I know you brought some supplements with you today. Sometimes this requires psychological or medical intervention. So how do we determine what we need?
Absolutely. So I talk about the big 4 treatment options. For me, medication can be an option. We talk about counseling, maybe sending patients to a therapist or a counselor or a psychiatrist. One I think that is not an option, actually has to happen, is what I describe as me time. And then the 4th is use of nutritional supplements. So with regard to something like me time, what I talk about is getting out and doing something that accomplishes 2 things, really. Getting you psychologically and, second, physically away from your stressors. So I took up cycling 1 year, thinking that would be a great form of stress reduction, and it actually did work pretty well, except for the fact that while I was cycling, I thought about all my stressors. So it's important to get away from that psychologically as well.
Okay.
The use of supplements, so I brought in some examples. I like Adrenal Complex and ashwagandha. So these are supplements that can help to reduce those cortisol and adrenaline levels from your adrenal glands and help your adrenal glands to help you manage stress more effectively.
Very, very interesting. And I just started taking ashwagandha because I've heard about all the great effects that it can have. Of course, with anything, you surely want to consult with your doctor, your physician, to make sure you're on the right track. You won't have any adverse reactions with the medication you're already taking. You want to be a good patient, and you want to be with Dr. G and his team at Texas Family Wellness Clinic. So stop by their website and fill out your application to make sure you're the perfect match. When you're accepted, don't forget you can look forward to that 2nd location opening on the south side very, very soon in October, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Very cool. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
And they do have the Cal Allen location as well.
That's right.
So we'll see you every week for more health and wellness topics. Hopefully we can get your stress under control with the help of Dr. G and his incredible team. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Health and Wellness with Dr. Guevara is paid for by Texas Family Wellness Clinic.